factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
Wow, folks, we all know the story.
As makers announce the release date of The Devil Wears Prada 2, we take a look at all the upcoming remakes, reboots and sequels. Dive into the world of music with a never-seen-before auction. And find out why baby blue is the color of the year. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION at these times.
To get its tourism industry back on its feet again a little more than a month after the Pahalgam terror attack. And it's an uphill task at multiple levels. The Amarnath Yatra starting 3rd of July is the biggest immediate challenge for security agencies. Hello and welcome, I'm Samiksha Srivastava and this is Inside South Asia. Bangladesh is navigating fierce political upheaval and uncertainty pulling in multiple directions, with a mandate to implement political reforms and take the country to much delayed elections, mounting challenges from opposition and Islamist parties, the military and even civil society take the country to the brink. Take a look at this detailed report.
In the thick of the proverbial storm, one which intensifies and closes in on him almost by the day. A little over 9 months into taking power, Muhammad Yunus's problems boil down to just about every aspect of his office. Rising political unrest, mass public protests, internal government tensions and concerns over democratic processes. With a nosediving Bangladesh economy and human rights situation in the backdrop.
We have seen that the popular euphoria that happens with any kind of a revolution, and the expectations of the people have not been met. And that is why one is seeing that the political class is unhappy, the people are unhappy, and even their foreign and important partners are not that happy with the approach that Mr. Yunus and his government has taken. And he has been just delaying these reforms.
In the heart of Dhaka, thousands of voices cry for change again. Echoes of protests that led to the removal of Sheikh Hasina in August last year. Civil servants, teachers and students have taken to the streets, furious over rising costs, stagnant promised reforms and decrees seen as authoritarian. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party of Khaleda Zia has spearheaded demonstrations. Standing out, the election promise and the transition to democracy, Yunus's collision course with multiple players is in sharp focus. Bangladesh Army Chief Wakhruzzaman has been categorical about elections by December this year, saying only an elected government can restore order and get the army back to the barracks. Some read this as a coup warning, amid suspicions that Yunus is looking beyond a caretaker mandate. The army was quick to clarify that there were no takeover plans. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party of Khaleda Zia echoes the elections by December pitch, warning intensified protests otherwise. Zia seeks momentum while the Awami League is banned. The Islamist parties, the Jamaat-e-Islami and others, also want early elections, anticipating public fatigue working against them. Yunus even termed it a warlike situation, insisting on electoral reforms first, hinting at April-May 2026 as most realistic for elections. He wants a clean election he can take credit for. The chief advisor stresses on unity days after he threatened to quit. He cites the importance of unity for free and fair elections, amid rising questions on how genuine his intentions really are on ending his own unelected rule.
He knows very well that at the moment he has already banned the biggest political party, which is the Awami League, and they will not be able to contest the elections. But the BNP that has been supporting the Khaleda Zia's party, which has been supporting him, has also been asking for early elections. It's only with the help of Islamist and extremist elements of Jamaat-e-Islami, as well as some young students who have formed a new party, a National Citizen Party, that he wants to continue to remain in the saddle. And therefore, that's why I said there is a political disaffection against him, and everybody has told him to continue to expedite the elections.
The election row is just one end of Yunus's troubles. There's a tug of war around the Rakhine corridor to Myanmar, the state of the economy with US aid drying up, the Awami League ban, and Bangladesh's relations with its neighbors. Bottom line, it's about who will set the rules for Bangladesh's political road ahead. There's an increasingly assertive army, the political parties, and Yunus himself desperate to buy time. Expect this battle to intensify through the monsoon and beyond.
Nepal, as a transit point for Pakistani terror operations directed in India, has been in focus after the Pahalgam terror attack in April. Nepal's open border with India and relatively lenient visa policies have frequently been misused. Both countries have intensified vigil in recent weeks. Here's another detailed report.
A joint team of India's Sashastra Seema Bal and Nepal's armed police force conduct a search operation in dense forest area in the no man's land between the two countries. This after a fresh intel alert last week on potential infiltration attempts by terror elements looking to enter Uttar Pradesh in India from Pakistan via the Nepal route. The latest operation focused on the Bahraich to Balrampur stretch in Uttar Pradesh bordering Nepal. The over 1,750-kilometer long India-Nepal border touches 5 Indian states and is completely porous along several stretches. Border areas in Madhubani in Bihar felt it earlier this week. Close to 20 drones entered Indian territory from Nepal, raising a stir. They returned after circling for about 40 minutes. The SSB has issued a high alert. Air Force headquarters in Darbhanga and Delhi have been informed.
Nepal security officers have confirmed and acknowledged seeing a glowing like unidentified object along the Nepal-India border. The investigation has been initiated into this with the coordination of the DIG in Madhya province and CDO. We know that the Nepal-India border was already on alert for the past few weeks, especially since the Operation Sindoor, in response to reported infiltration. But India's SSB and Nepal's APF have been conducting joint patrolling along the border, monitoring round-the-clock movement and real-time intelligence sharing.
Historically, the border is known as one of the most open in the world, symbolizing close cultural and economic ties. Citizens from both sides travel across freely without a visa or passport due to the 1950 India-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship. A darker dimension has escalated in recent years, a big security challenge for both sides. Investigations show that the ISI has leveraged certain mosques and madrasas in Nepal's Terai region to promote subversive activities against India. These institutions have reportedly received funding from Pakistani sources to facilitate anti-India operations. The threat goes all the way back to the 1990s. Declassified US diplomatic cables released by WikiLeaks reveal that during the 1990s, the ISI established Kathmandu as a central node for anti-India terrorist activities. Nepal has been used as a launchpad for anti-India operations, including smuggling of RDX, fake currency and arms. The IC-814 that was hijacked in 1999 was travelling from Kathmandu to New Delhi. Arrests of Khalistani operatives and suspected extremists near the Nepal border indicate active use by anti-India elements to hide or regroup. In recent years, checkposts along the India-Nepal border have been nearly tripled, with biometric tracking systems introduced. Meetings between Indian and Nepalese border security forces are irregular for intel sharing. Potential foreign funding for religious and educational institutions is closely monitored. Pak terror, now via the Nepal route, emerges as a challenge India can't afford to ignore.
A Liberian-flagged cargo ship carrying more than 640 containers, including 13 with unspecified hazardous cargo, sunk off the coast of India's southern state of Kerala. All 24 members on board the ship were rescued, but given the sensitive marine ecosystem along the Kerala coast, an alert has been issued as a precautionary measure. Our next report gets you the details.
May 24th, 2025. 70 kilometers from the coast of Kochi, Kerala. The Liberia-flagged vessel MSC Elsa 3, listed as a 603 feet long freight ship, was travelling from Vizinjam port to Kochi when about 38 nautical miles or 70 kilometers from the coast of Kochi, it ran into trouble and began to tilt dangerously. At 12:15 p.m. IST on the 24th of May, the Indian Coast Guard received a distress call. In the subsequent hours-long rescue operation, the Indian Coast Guard ship Arnvesh, a fast patrol vessel, successfully rescued 21 crew members by the end of the day. Additionally, the Indian Navy deployed INS Sujata and INS Satpura later in the evening to rescue the remaining 3 crew members, including the captain of the Liberian cargo ship.
Indian Navy deployed 2 ships, INS Satpura and INS Sujata. INS Sujata arrived at 1900 hours on the scene and Satpura arrived at 2000 hours. The situation that we faced at that point of time, the challenges that we faced were that we had adverse conditions. We had wind speeds gusting up to 40 knots. We had debris in the water. We had containers in the water, which made approaching the ship, and particularly at night time, very difficult. In the evening, 21 crew were rescued by ICGS Arnvesh. This morning, the remaining 3 crew, that is the captain, the first engineer and the second engineer, were rescued. All 3 were administered first aid. They're all safe now.
The crew on board the doomed cargo ship are from Georgia, Russia, Ukraine and Philippines, who were effusive in their praise for the swift response and dedicated care of the Indian Navy personnel.
Thank you for the Indian Coast Guard to save us, and they take care about us since yesterday, and the monitoring, good communication, and we are survivors in time, and it's a good job.
The cargo ship, however, could not be saved. In the early hours of the 25th of May, due to flooding in one of its compartments, it capsized into the Arabian Sea. What's alarming is that the vessel went down with 643 containers, including 13 with hazardous cargo and 12 containing calcium carbide, a chemical used for fertilizer production and steel making that reacts with seawater to release a flammable gas.
As per the information from the Kerala State Disaster Management Authority, the total number of containers in the ship was 643. 73 among them was empty. 13 among them contains some dangerous substances. Some of them contains calcium carbide. A high-level meeting was chaired by the CM Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan on the basis of the crisis. The CM also explains that the fuel of the ship was also leaked and efforts are going on to neutralize the oil leakage and all other issues related to it.
The cargo ship reportedly has 84.44 metric tons of diesel and 367.1 metric tons of furnace oil in its tanks. Authorities have urged people to stay away from some of the containers that began washing ashore. It also issued an advisory for fishermen not to venture too close to the sunken ship. While so far no oil spill has reached the coast of Kerala, the Indian Coast Guard has deployed a ship carrying pollution control equipment to the site, along with 3 vessels, Vikram, Saksham and Samarth, for pollution response configuration. The vessels will be harnessing infrared cameras to detect the oil spill and disperse chemicals to contain its spread. Besides, a Dornier aircraft equipped with specialized gear has been positioned in Kochi to undertake aerial assessments of the oil spill situation. Marine oil spills can have disastrous social, economic and environmental consequences. For now, Kerala remains on high alert.
Up next, we get you all the other news making headlines in our Inside South Asia wrap.
The Foreign Minister of Maldives, Abdullah Khalil, during his 3-day visit to India, strongly condemned the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack and expressed firm support to India in the fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Khalil met India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on the 26th of May in New Delhi as part of the high-level core group bilateral meeting where both sides talked about ways to strengthen defense, trade and maritime ties. The second India-Maldives high-level core group meeting was held to review progress in the implementation of the India-Maldives Vision document, adopted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Muhammad Yunus in October 2024. On his 3rd visit to India this year, Khalil also conveyed appreciation from Malé for the recent grant of emergency financial assistance by India.
Afghanistan is estimated to hold nearly $1 trillion worth of mineral reserves. However, its mountainous terrain and, more significantly, the security issues have proven to be a major impediment in the extraction of these mineral reserves. Decades of war and lack of adequate infrastructure meant that these mineral reserves remained untapped for years. Since Taliban's ascension to power in August 2021, they have made concerted efforts to finance the government through domestic resources, which resulted in mining becoming a priority. Following the withdrawal of NATO and its Western allies in 2021, Beijing has been eyeing these mineral resources and quickly moved in to fill the investment gap in the war-ravaged nation. To date, approximately 200 mining contracts have been signed by the Chinese with the Taliban government. These collaborations are expected to create around 150,000 jobs. The first nation to accredit a Taliban-appointed ambassador, China is expected to be a major player in Afghanistan's extractive industries as part of its Belt and Road Initiative.
In the Himalayan nation of Nepal, the student wing of the main opposition party, Communist Party of Nepal, Maoist Center, staged protests. On Wednesday, demanding resignation of the Home Minister, Ramesh Lekhak, allegedly linked to the visit visa scam. The student protesters burnt effigies of the Prime Minister, KP Sharma Oli, and the Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak, and demanded the Home Minister's resignation. Terming the ongoing campaigns against him politically motivated, Home Minister Lekhak has refused to tender his resignation over the scandal, citing that there had been no official complaint or investigation against him. The scandal has triggered significant political unrest, with allegations that immigration officials were involved in facilitating human trafficking under the guise of outbound tourism.
Now let's take you to Afghanistan, where another rule put in place by Taliban has ignited a debate. The Afghan government has imposed school uniforms keeping with Islamic dressing norms. This has ended up adding an extra financial burden on the people of the country. Take a look.
I'm very happy that they have chosen this prophetic clothing for us. This outfit creates a distinction between school students and those on the street so that people can recognize who is a school student and who is just an ordinary person.
From grade 9 to 12, we wear white clothes and white turbans. These turbans are part of the Sunnah, and the white clothes help distinguish us.
These are the students of Mahmood Tarzi School in the Taliban heartland of southern Kandahar, attending classes in their new uniforms. From Kandahar to Herat, since the start of the school year in March, Afghan boys have been required to wear turbans and long tunics, following an order to adopt outfits reflecting the Taliban rule. The rule, ordered by the Taliban Supreme Leader Hibatullah Akhundzada, took time to be enforced and is still implemented unevenly across the country. Among teachers and school principals, also told to swap their suits and ties or casual clothes for salwar kameez and a black turban. Before the Taliban takeover in 2021, the salwar kameez and turban, traditional wear in the region, were uncommon in academic or professional settings. Since their return, the streets of Kabul and other areas have become more uniform, with many men opting for the monochrome loose trousers and long tunic. Once mostly limited to religious schools, the salwar kameez with a turban or hat are now mandatory for all students, whether in public or private schools.
This was a decree from Sheikh Sahib Hibatullah Akhundzada, Taliban Supreme Leader, stating that school students should be distinguishable from boys on the street. Based on that, a directive was issued before Eid, stating that students from grade 1 to 9 should wear sky blue clothes and a white hat, while students from grade 9 to 12 should wear white clothes and a turban. This is to ensure a clear distinction between students and non-students.
However, there are a few teachers who have raised the issue of the cost of these uniforms. According to them, one uniform may cost 1,000 Afghanis or $14 in a country where 85% of the population lives on less than $1 a day. How are Afghans going to afford the new Taliban-imposed attire? This is not the first time the Taliban has targeted men. New laws require men to grow fist-length beards and bar them from imitating non-Muslims in appearance or behavior. And now, with the new uniforms in schools, The Taliban government's education ministry cites strengthening discipline, masking social inequalities, and promoting what the authorities see as true Islamic attire as reasons for the dress code change.
This is a very good initiative by Sheikh Sahib Hibatullah Akhundzada, Taliban Supreme Leader, as there should be a distinction between school students and others. The people in society need to understand that school students should be separated from those who are just out on the streets. So this is a commendable step.
But what about the inequality that girls and women are facing in the country? Almost 4 years since the Taliban took over, Afghanistan stands out as the only country in the world where secondary and higher education is strictly forbidden to girls and women. Afghan girls have been banned from attending school beyond year 6, while boys started the new school year at secondary schools across Afghanistan in March. There are still no plans for girls to attend. Akhundzada was heavily criticized last year after he proved a host of new vice and virtue laws which state that women must completely veil their bodies, including their faces, in thick clothing at all times in public to avoid leading men into temptation and vice. Girls are already from a young age required to wear uniforms, often a long black dress over matching trousers with a white headscarf, but can no longer study past primary school in non-religious institutions. Will they ever even get to study in the near future again? For boys, this is yet another directive from the Taliban that every student and teacher should follow without fail. Do people in Afghanistan have any choice?
India's financial capital came to a virtual halt earlier this week due to fierce pre-monsoon rains. It's the earliest onset of the monsoon in Maharashtra in 75 years. Delhi has encountered major storms due to an erratic western disturbance, with usual weather patterns showing signs of going haywire. More in this report.
We are having a lot of difficulties in traveling. It's impossible to locate the drainage outlets. There is always a risk of falling into one of those. Neither the footpath is visible, nor is the road. How is a person supposed to walk? How can the bus run when all the roads are waterlogged?
The Bombay Municipal Corporation did not work in time. The situation of every road is similar.
The priority should be cleanliness. If the tunnels are not cleaned, garbage will keep accumulating like this, which will in turn cause waterlogging irrespective of what the government does.
Almost from 20 years we are facing the same problem.
Finally, here's another effect of climate change. Experts say due to changing weather patterns, a flamboyance of majestic flamingos arrived in India's southern state of Tamil Nadu on Wednesday. The migratory birds are usually spotted in India from October to March during their breeding period. Take a look at these resplendent visuals and I shall see you next week.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world.